So this is a public session open to everybody, everybody who cares about your spiritual practice, cares about life, cares about what's going on in the world, and so forth. This topic, it's a big topic, subject, what's called spiritual responsibility at the time of war. Without any hesitation, I had a very strong impulse to offer something like this. This is very important, I feel, this time. Really, each of us come together here without suppressing our own feeling or emotion or whatever arises, whatever comes up, to perhaps digest, share, and listen deeply. Not only listen to your own feeling or what comes up, but also listen to your spiritual colleague, pilgrimates on the same journey. I really wanted to provide this opportunity, kind of container for us to flourish, especially this time. I feel this is a crucial time, an important time for a spiritual practitioner to really connect and, in a sense, deep. This is an opportunity for us to go deeper in our practice and deeper as a human being, like mature as a human being and human citizen in this world. We are completely interconnected. Did you notice that? That kind of thing, but sometimes we forget as if we are living myself. And as long as I don't read the news, as long as I retreat into my retreat cabin, I'm safe. I can focus on the spiritual practice or something like that. I don't think any of you feel that way, but sometimes we bypass and feel comfortable. That's human nature. We move to the comfortable things. Instead of doing that, make use of utilizing this kind of opportunity, how we can deal with what's going on and in us, what's coming out, how we can digest, metabolize, and transform, utilize, and use that as a manure or as if like a treasure for us to really use it on this journey. There are lots of inquiries coming up in me, but for now, what's important here, I would like to have a short sitting, quiet sitting for 5 minutes or so that settle everything. We are like a jar filled with muddy water. Then what we want to do right now is put that jar filled with muddy water on the table. Just let it sit and just sit. Then all this mud coming onto the bottom. Then we started to see the more clearly what's in that water. Clarity and lucidity and whatever arises, maybe little dot might floating coming up onto the surface of that water. So whatever arises without judgment and without making it a big deal. So that's the kind of practice I want to start with. In other words, attending to whatever arises, attending to our inner experience. But in a sense, this is a beginning. Healing starts with this feeling what comes up. So without really connecting to one's own experience, everything becomes mental or disassociate. And then what happened is the remains in the body. We cannot deceive our body. Body accumulate like a storage. If we don't digest, we don't feel what needs to be felt. So just for past 5 minutes or so, I'm going to be quiet. So make sure you use the body. Invite your body to this meditation with loving attitude, breath, awareness, body, all our support on this journey. The attitude is very important. You have to bring affectionate curiosity, loving attitude toward whatever arises, even your action of judgment. See if you can bring your loving attention to the breathing in all the way into the lower belly. If this pattern helps, inhale, then deep in and down, and expand horizontally. Exhale, gather, connect. In other words, empowered. As you inhale, see if you can connect the relative world, relative reality, you can say, compassion. Exhale, the ultimate dimension of who you are, wisdom. Okay, so now I want you to invite your awareness, breath into the heart center. Take a moment to rest there and see what's coming up. What's there? Maybe nothing may come up. So that's your experience. Then rest in that. This kind of feeling of shutting down or ignoring, whatever might be. For more openness, welcoming to difficult feeling, whatever might be. So as I said, the initial step is tune into this, your internal experience, what comes up in you. Then make a brief intention for today's session. It's good to set the intention. May today's experience, today's discussion, today's sharing serve for me, for us to be fully open and actualize our most sublime intention of bodhicitta as my responsibility or my response to the world of suffering. So slowly letting go of this short quiet meditation will be done. Let's see if we can sustain that focus. So this is not a teaching session, as I started saying. This is really want to for us to get together, feel, experience, our own experience, internal experience, share, digest, integrate. Us may not be able to integrate. That's natural. But then if this can be the kind of initial starting point for using this opportunity as or integrate this to our own spiritual practice. But I just want to say a few words when I wrote this invitation. I asked a few questions. I said we can't help but wondering how humanity, which all of its potential, this Buddha nature each of us has, continue to perpetuate the worst experience of our species, human species. Then how are we to process, each of us to process this kind of things, tragedy, and what is our responsibility? How do we respond to this time of not only war or conflict, but starting out everything, like the last couple of years, COVID, this health issues, climate change, and racial justice and issues. Seems like all these symptoms are surfacing up right now here. We cannot ignore that. Then our inquiry is how we can respond to that. And also, why war? Why is war? Why is peace such a challenge? Why is generosity so difficult? Why is the challenge to empower ourselves and others difficult? That sort of inquiries came up in me. I feel like it's so important to have this containers, kind of trustable, safe container, and a very supportive environment here. So you can say whatever. There's no judgment, especially judgment to your own experience. So what's arising in you? or not arising. Namdwa, that's another strategy we do. I do myself, like numbing ourselves out, or draw the sharp line. This is my spiritual practice, and this is a life news. So this one is something I'm not gonna deal with. Spiritual practice here, like put in a box. What is it? What's happening in you? Why did you show up to begin with? Like a Sunday lunchtime, why you want to spend 1 hour to this kind of subject? What brings you here? Yeah, whatever you said or everybody will say is valid, actually. This physical, somatic, I said the inner experience. That's it. I was actually encouraging ourselves to connect to the inner experience, right? That's not only emotion or feeling, but I'm talking about the somatic uh, sensation or physical level as well. Yeah, we just read the Karmapa Ranjun Dorje's Mahamudra Aspiration Prayers. Then one line always touches me. This overwhelming compassion alive. Seeing all the sentient beings, not knowing who they are, may overwhelming compassion arise in me. All those feeling experiences, that's actually in a sense great. We get in touch with our inner feeling. That's the first step. We are living in a very important era time. In a sense, it's a fertile ground for spiritual seeker to bring this onto the path and bring it to the blossom. So in that sense, I feel we are witnessing internally and externally, witnessing everything. And so in that sense, so fortunate. It's a strange thing to say fortunate, but somebody is saying precious human life. But I think we are witnessing everything, witnessing all, which is very fortunate. So we don't just take it for granted. Nice to really keep ourselves awake and bring back to the core of this inquiry what's important and who we are. Who we are is so powerful. We underestimating the power of who we are as a human beings, especially as the one who got this lifetime, precious human life. It's so powerful. I heard very touchy, moving internal experience. That's so important. Yeah, resilience and these human qualities each of us has, which we never thought we had. But perhaps resilience, this overwhelming compassion, wisdom, and insight each of us has. Those things may really encourage to come up. Yeah, this is the era of distraction as well as transformation. And we cannot go back to the place where we were. Some people want to go back like normal. What's normal? This all the habitual patterns operated in our lives before. And now we got the wake up call and take this time as a time for transformation or go back to really what's reality, you can say, peeling off these veils of whatever we are living with, like a sugar coating our life to make our life comfortable or blind, not seeing. So I don't have any answer to any of your inquiry. Each of us has to really come to direct experience through our own practice, as well as this safety we got in these communities. And I always said we got everything. We got the practice, we got the community. If we have those two weapons, you can say, then we can really flourish, make this life meaningful for all beings. In this way, we can really contribute and participate in this world of shared experience. I know this session is just scratching the surface of a big topic, But I felt really I got a strong impulse. We need to do something like this, even more question than answer, but important. I feel that this is like ancient forest circle. Often I use this metaphor. I love this one. Like 5,000 years ago, these yogis and yogini, they have their own life. Then once, maybe in this case, maybe once in a while, we get together in ancient forest and circle around. Then we share our experience, so-called life practice experience, then grow each other. Then again, disperse or the experiment, the practice we do in life situation, then bring it up and so forth. So I feel like Dakini's whisper is a small circle enough to be able to do that. If we have 100 students or something, it's very difficult to share one's personal experience. But somehow we got this.